Hello, today we are going to be talking about Chapter 4, Tissues. Tissues are two or more cells working together for a similar function. Histology is the study of tissues. Four basic types of tissues and their functions. Epithelial covers surfaces and lines cavities. Connective tissue provides support for the body. Muscle tissue contracts to provide movement. And lastly, nervous tissue sends and receives electrical impulses. Up next, we're going to discuss the characteristics of epithelial tissue. Cellularity. It means it's made of almost all cells, and also cells are stuck to other cells. Next, we're going to explain what cell junctions are, or specialized contacts. Tight junctions help prevent molecules from passing through the extracellular space between adjacent cells. Anchoring junctions are also called desmosomes. They act like molecular Velcro and also help form an internal tension-reducing network of fibers. Polarity refers to the differences in shape, structure, and function within a cell. Apical surface means that it's a free surface. It may have cilia and microvilli. Microvilli create surface area. They are finger-like extensions of plasma membrane that project from an exposed cell surface. Cilia moves mucus. They are whip-like motile cellular extensions that occur typically in large numbers on the exposed surfaces of certain cells. The basal surface simply means that it's stuck to the basement membrane. Next, we're going to go over the attachments of the basement membrane. First is the basal lamina. It has a fuzzy coating on the bottom of the cell and consists largely of glycoproteins secreted by epithelial cells plus some collagen fibers. And number 2 is reticular lamina. It has hook-like extensions and consists of collagen fibers coming up from connective tissue underneath. Next, avascularity. It simply means that it has no blood vessels. Being innervated means it has nerve endings. Lastly is high regeneration capacity. It means that it regenerates quickly if and when the lateral contacts are destroyed. Epithelial cells begin to reproduce themselves rapidly. As long as epithelial cells receive adequate nutrition, they can replace lost cells by cell division. Next, we're going to move on to the classification scheme for epithelia. We're going to first start off with the basis for naming epithelial tissue. Number 1 is the number of layers in epithelia tissue. The first is simple epithelia, which means it only has one layer. Next is stratified epithelia. It means it is composed of 2 or more cell layers stacked on top of each other. We're now going to move on to different cell shapes. We'll start off with squamous. They are flat and look like fried eggs. Next is cuboidal. They are box-like and are approximately tall as they are wide. Last but not least is columnar. They are shaped like columns and they are taller than they are wide. We're now going to go over the classes of covering and lining of epithelium. To start off is simple epithelia. It allows diffusion and filtration of material. Because they consist of a single layer and are usually very thin, protection is not one of their specialties. To follow up, we'll now move on to simple squamous. They are flat and they are located in the kidneys, lungs, heart, and serous membranes. Next, we're going to talk about endothelium. Endothelium is the inner covering. It provides a slick, friction-reducing lining in lymphatic vessels and in all hollow organs of the cardiovascular system. Up next is the mesothelium. The mesothelium is the middle covering. It lines the ventral body cavities and serous membranes. Moving on to simple cuboidal. It is found in the kidneys and is responsible for secretion and absorption of material. Simple columnar is either ciliated or non-ciliated. It is found in the respiratory tract and the reproductive tract. Next is pseudostratified columnar. It can be either ciliated or non-ciliated. It is found in the trachea. A non-ciliated example would be the digestive tract. We're now going to move on to stratified epithelia and its different variations. Stratified squamous resist abrasions. They are found in the skin and are keratinized or non-keratinized. Stratified columnar and stratified cuboidal are rare to non-existent in humans. Finally is transitional. It is found in the bladder and uterus, which is waterproof and stretchy. Next, we'll move on to glandular epithelium. It is one or more cells that secrete a particular product, which is proteins, lipids, or steroids. Classification of glands. First is endocrine. It secretes product directly into the bloodstream and has no ducts. Exocrine glands have ducts, or also called sweat glands. Merocrine glands secrete their products through exocytosis. Holocrine glands, their cells fill up and pop. Now we'll move on to the common characteristics of connective tissue. There are 3 common characteristics of connective tissue. First, they have a common origin. Second, they have degrees of vascularity. And lastly, extracellular matrix and scattered cells.